All right, tribe. So we haven't left Bahia Falsa yet. I first wanted to make sure the engine would run longer than 20 minutes. Seemed to be doing good today. I waited till I had a good weather window. The tide was a little bit screwy and there was a lot of wind channeling through here. And I wanted to be able to hear the motor. What I'm dealing with right now is the davit system. I have a davit system, and obviously I would like to use it. That would make life a lot easier. But looks like the lines that are being used are either, well, no, they're not. They're not too thick. They are a little bit stiff. And I think these shivs need to be really sort of greased up because they do not, they don't move. Even with weight on them, they're not moving very well. Which is, you know, I mean, they work. It's in good condition. They just need to be sort of dealt with, tuned up a little bit, which is pretty much everything on this boat. Just needs a little bit of TLC, which means I'm moving too fast. No one thinks to check the davit system before you go. I probably should have. There's a lot of other things I should have checked a little more thoroughly than I did. Probably would have made this situation less difficult. Ideally, I could have handled it before I left, and I should already be up towards like Agua Verde by now. Lessons learned. So now I'm not only working through some mechanical issues and minor things that I should have checked before I left. So because I had such a hard time with this engine, trying to keep it running, keep it from catching fire, I'm real hesitant about utilizing it right away. I ran the engine. She ran beautifully for the last 45 minutes to an hour to see if she'd bog down or do anything weird. She did not. That makes me feel a lot better. Something's chasing the fish out there, probably a Dorado. And the bait fish are going like crazy to try and escape them. That's pretty cool. All right, back to what I was saying. I need to get my confidence back in this boat. The engine failure, the smoking, all of that stuff kind of shook my faith. Not being able to get this thing to stay running for the last couple of days also sort of shook my faith. But going through and fixing those problems has reinstilled some of that faith. Running the engine like I did today, again, I have a little more confidence in the boat's abilities. So for a new sailor, man, it's important that I have that engine, especially now in this area where I'm at, going through the channel. I'm not experienced enough to sail through the channel. I did it once and I wasn't even sailing. I just helped on the jib lines, on the sheets is all I did. So it's just along for the ride. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take Mouse and I over to the public beach there. Let her run around. She's been such a good dog. She deserves it. And I need a break from the boat. So we're gonna get at this, and we'll be in La Paz tomorrow. We're gonna go tomorrow. There's no rush. Well, tribe, no more than 45 minutes passed on the beach, and these clouds started coming in. The wind picked up, and I felt it was necessary to get back to the boat and batten down the hatches. Looks like we're gonna have a little bit of a rainstorm through here. Nothing big, but it is gonna shake things up for a minute. Needless to say, I got everything ready on the boat. Got Mouse and I comfortable midship, where it's the most comfortable during those rocky times, and broke out my stash of movies to pass the day as we wait this storm out. All right, tribe, so it's looking like we're almost at time to go. I'm just waiting for the tide to kind of slope a little bit, make it easier for me to pull anchor by myself. Before that, I'm gonna start the engine, let it run for a while. I've already checked the oil and the ATF fluid. Both are good. I gotta prep the boat, get ready to go, drop the solar panels and things like that. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and drag the dinghy back. She seems to be doing fine out there. And then yeah. Then I get to try and get on the mooring for the first time. Never done that before, on or off of mooring. So that's gonna be fun. I'm sure I can do it. Whoa. Come on, baby. That's what I want to hear. Holy schmoly. Let's get her down to a good idling speed. All right, so I'd say about 15-20 minutes before all of this craziness slows up a little bit. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my solar panels and get things ready to go so that when I do leave, I can just pull anchor and head on down the channel. All right, guys, so still having problems with the engine, trying to keep her running. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's thinking the things that I've been thinking. I just got done talking to Joe, the former owner of the boat. Changed a lot of fuel filters, probably didn't need to. You know, it sounds like it's got air in the lines. Now, I don't know anything about diesel engines. I only know that they work on compression, not spark. That's about the extent of it. So, you know, it sounded to me like it wasn't getting fuel and it was bogging down. Joe agreed, sounded like it wasn't getting fuel, bogging down. Bled the lines again. I have to bleed the lines every single time I change the fuel filter. Sometimes you have to do it several times in a row. I try to lessen as much of that as I can because a lot of that, well, all of that diesel that comes out goes right into the tray and some spills over into the bilge, which is not good. I don't like it. I have to pump it out, and I pump it out and I store it in these 3-gallon water jugs on deck until I can dispose of it properly. So I don't like wasting fuel or screwing up the environment. It still sounds like it's bogging down, which makes both of us think that there might be an air leak. So I'm gonna get into this engine again today. We're not going anywhere again. We're staying right here in Falsa, the end of the rainbow. And I'm gonna look to see if I can find any loose hose clamps or possible air intake. Favorite thing in the whole world. Boat yoga. Yeah. It's so romantic being a sailor on a sailboat. You get to have all these intimate moments with your boat. All right, well, ding dang it. Okay, so here's some fuel lines. Looks like I need to take that panel off. I might as well take that panel off as well. Get some air in here.
Oh, you heavy bastard. Oh my God.
Now this is that split. Just kind of a weird thing. All right, I'm mumbling to myself. Let me show you guys what I got going on here. Alrighty. So I'm checking these fuel lines, making sure that like these hose clamps and stuff are nice and tight. We're not getting any air being sucked in anywhere there. So this here goes to my secondary fuel pump here. And then this line here, as you can see, it has these valves and it splits. One goes down to the tanks in the back. The other line, as you can see, we follow this up. It goes up in here, through the back here. Oop, don't mind me. It goes through this little system here, and it runs to this hose and cap. That is the emergency fuel line. When Joe was first having these issues, he put in that secondary pump, from what my understanding is, to mostly draw from a jerry can through this hose in the cockpit. So in an emergency situation, say the fuel tank lines are clogged, nothing's getting in, or for some reason I can't put any more fuel into the tanks, I'm supposed to have a Mexican style diesel jerry can full of diesel, which I don't have, in the cockpit, in which that line would attach. This locks onto the cap of that jerry can, and then you would draw fuel from that into the engine. So naturally I'm going to check all of that first, because if there's going to be a problem, it's probably going to be somewhere where we had altered the system to do something other than the design function. I like having it in there. I've mentioned this before. I like the secondary pump. Redundancy is great. And for a guy who's got some TISM and some obsessive compulsive disorders, having these multiple backups is great, especially for my anxieties. But it also adds to the problems. Like I've heard many times before about boats and sailing in general. Simplify it. The more complicated something is, the more chance of it breaking. Either you want the stuff or you don't, and if you want it, you got to deal with it, and that's what I'm doing today. Okay, so looking in here, following the fuel lines, just doing due diligence, I found this, which looks an awful lot like part of the cockpit draining system. Then I realized under here there's this bundle of wires and hose that comes out over here, which just happens to be in line with the cockpit drain system. And if we look over across the way, you can see what they do is they connect one side to the other, and then that gets sent down and out of the boat. So it wasn't a matter, I don't think it was a matter of forgetting to hook that back up. I think they left it off deliberately so that they didn't have to drill new line or drill new holes for the cables and stuff. Geez, I don't know how good that is. I've already had issue where coffee came down, hit this, sprayed outward, and got down here on my starter wires. And I think that's what kicked on the starter that began this whole fiasco outside of Balandra. So, whoa. Come on, baby. That's what I want to hear. Holy schmoly. You ever feel like the whole world's against you? Well, I solved the problem with the motor, I believe. There's a secondary fuel line that runs to a hose to the cockpit, to a jerry can. It was open, drawing in air, and that was what was giving me problems. Had the engine running for a good hour. Decided to go pull anchor, only to find out that my anchor is fouled up. Right at the anchor, actually. So it's caught under a rock or something, or I don't know. But I don't have the means to go check. I do have a couple ideas of how to unfoul it, but I need another person here. So that's where I'm at. Well, tribe, it's looking like I need to regroup and try and figure out how to get my anchor out from under whatever it is stuck on at the bottom of the bay there. It is kind of ironic that in a bay full of sand as beautiful as this, I find the only rock to get my anchor fouled up on. But it could be worse. I could be in a place not as beautiful. Anyways, we'll have to resolve this in a later video.
Fueled by ADHD and caffeine since 1976.
Oh, you heavy bastard.